All right, so those employment figures tell us a lot. It sounds as if things are getting better, but what they don't show you is the breakdown in terms of young people. They're the most unemployed. And one starts to see this, especially with graduates when they leave university or tertiary education and they're looking for jobs. And that first job seems to be the hardest to get. For a little bit more on this, we're now joined by Senior Recruitment Consultant and Team Leader at InspHired Recruitment Solutions, Xabiso Ngqula. Thanks for joining us. That's an interesting name.
Yeah.
Say it for us.
Xabiso Ngqula.
No, the company.
Oh, it's InspHired Recruitment.
Okay,
yes.
But InspHired.
InspHired Recruitment.
Okay,
yes.
Clever. All right, so why is that first job really difficult to get for young people?
Look, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. There are many factors that obviously contribute to that. Number one, it's not a secret that young people are obviously discouraged by what is happening, them not getting jobs. So you almost find like they've given up. Basically, they're no longer applying for those jobs, you know. And number one, the first thing that we see is young people are not trained to look for jobs. They're not looking in the right places. And if they are not working on their CVs, you know. So what I always say to a young person, to a graduate, when they ask me, what can I do to put myself in the market? So what I always say is, number one, let's look at your CV. Do you have the right experience? You might come back and say you need the experience in order for you to get the job, which is the same thing that's happening in South Africa. So now the biggest thing is what we always encourage them, while you're working, you know, try to look for part-time jobs. Try to look for work where you can volunteer to ensure that you've got that experience. And that actually helps you in ensuring that on your CV, when it comes to that experience section, it does not, you know, it's not empty, basically, you know. So that's what people are looking for. It also helps you, you know, to get the right social skills, to get the right interpersonal skills, to get the right customer service skills, you know, so that when you are exposed into the industry, you basically know how to interact with all the other people. And another thing, what companies look for, they look for people that can network. So networking is very important. You know, there are job boards like LinkedIn, as for an example, where you can put yourself out there. You know, our companies, employers spend a lot of money, you know, to ensure that they find the suitable candidates on these job boards, you know. Yeah. All
right. So, I mean, you've said a lot of things. And to be honest with you, I start to hear the old school type kind of thing playing out time and time again. If I went to St. John's or Bishop's or Hilton, I know my life is fine. The network is going to work. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to get a gig somewhere. But if I've come from a rural school in Limpopo, and I've just managed to get through my degree at Wits, wherever, I may qualify with great marks, but it's all this other stuff that you've spoken about that the St. John's boy has. He may not pass as well as me. Why is he getting the job? What can I do? You know, I didn't go to private school. I didn't do opera and all these other things. Yes. So I'm getting left behind through no fault of my own.
So that's where the education part comes in. That's where the research comes in. That's where we as recruitment agencies come in, because we spend a lot of time refining the talent, refining the applicants that we receive on a daily basis to ensure that clients, you know, they basically see them for their skills. So it does not matter where you come from, to be honest. You might come, we get a lot of applicants coming from the Eastern Cape, never been exposed to these kind of social events, you know, these kind of networking events, you know. But when they call us and ask, this is what's happening, this is what I have, we say, send us your CV and let them know that this is actually where you need to improve. And we actually give them the right advice, you know. For example, for people as well, maybe you've done all the hard work and you got that interview. you're a graduate, you've never prepared for an interview, you don't know what to expect. That's where we come in as well. We negotiate salaries for them. We ensure that they are ready for those interviews. So even when it comes to the part where you are not exposed to these social events, so we tell you that there's such and such a graduation program where you can expose yourself to ensure that you are on that job market.
So recruiters should be doing more then, because I know at one point, the recruiter you probably met once, if at all, to drop off your CV that they could see you, and then after that it was just phone calls. Peter, you've got an interview at such and such a place, go there tomorrow. Should recruiters then be doing dummy interviews, prepping graduates?
Well, that's actually what we do on a day-to-day basis. So we at InspHired manage the entire recruitment process, from getting that CV and ensuring that we get you ready for that interview. We prep you, it's not only for those who are not experienced, even for a senior who's experienced, we ensure that as a recruiter, we get you, because we know, we've worked with the clients, we know what the clients want, we know how to get you ready for that interview. So it is definitely essential for a recruiter to ensure that you prep your candidate and get them ready for that interview.
All right, so I want you to help graduates who are watching now. When the company that's doing the hiring is going through CVs, what is he looking for, and what's going to make my CV stand out more than the next guy?
All right. So as a person who's seeking employment, it's very important to tailor your CV, according to the job that you're applying for. I'm not saying copy exactly what they're looking for, but when an HR person is actually looking for a person, they are looking for specific information on your CV. So it's important for you to ensure that those keywords are there. So you need to, every job that you apply for, to tailor your CV and ensure that it is there, So, for example, I spoke about LinkedIn as well. So on LinkedIn, there's a skills section where you actually get to learn. It's called LinkedIn Learning, where you learn those skills and immediately they appear on your profile. So you get exposed to those kind of skills. So even if you don't have the experience, you've been exposed to certain skills, and that you can include on your CV as well. So it's very important to ensure that your CV, speaks of what you have done. It speaks to that job spec that you're applying for, because when a person is looking for a person to hire, basically, they don't spend the whole time going through the CV and read everything, but they are looking for certain keywords. So you, as an applicant, it's very important to tailor your CV according to that job that you're looking for.
All right. So they've taken the CV, they're interested, you arrive for the interview. Talk to us about the look, the manner, and how to get through it.
First of all, it's very important to look presentable. Be formal. When you're formal, it speaks, because the first impression always lasts. So when you get there, be friendly. I know nerves can get the better of you sometimes. So it's very important for you to be there, very confident, greet, be friendly, because you never know that the person that is sitting there is the person that's actually hiring. So greet, be friendly. When you sit there, tell them about yourself. Be very confident, in your skills, because you've done this, you've learned this, you know yourself best, and basically you're selling yourself best. So it's very important for you to be confident.
All right, and look the part.
And look the part, definitely.
How much, when does it become bragging and selling? Because we are, particularly old school, we almost wait to be asked.
Yeah.
And you're saying sell, sell, sell.
Yeah.
At what point does it become too much bragging as opposed to selling?
Look, it's very important not to oversell yourself sometimes. I know I spoke a lot about selling, but when you speak about what you have, basically you need to be confident of the things that you have done. Be confident about yourself. It's always better to be over-prepared than, be under-prepared. So prepare, you've read the job spec. So that's why it's important when they say that you're getting an interview, ask for a job spec. so that you know exactly what the job entails, and obviously you are there to talk about yourself. They've already seen something that they like, so now they need to see them if you are a match in terms of personality as well. Speak about yourself, speak very confidently of yourself as well.
All right. I'm old, so a lot of my experiences are back in the day. Do you talk about money at an interview?
A lot of people are very uncomfortable talking about money. So that's where, as recruiters, come in. We come across against a lot of candidates when you speak to them and ask about how much are they currently on and their expectations. A lot of people get uncomfortable in that, but it's important to know that a recruiter, when they ask you all that information, they are there to represent you. They are there to ensure that you get a better salary. So what we often say is, on your first interview, don't rush into talking about money. But when they ask you, also be very, you already know what the salary entails when you got that spec, so don't ask for too much, when you know that you don't have the skills, when you know that you don't have the experience for it, so when we as recruiters come in, we already know what kind of experience you have, what experience they are looking for. So when we speak about your salary expectation, we already know that we are trying to get you a better package.
Xabiso, thanks so much indeed for joining us. I wish you were around when I was much younger looking for my first job, but thanks so much for your time. But it does seem as if preparation is key to this whole equation.
Definitely.
And to get as much help as you can. Don't take chances.
Definitely. So even if you are still a young person looking, very important, get a hold of recruitment agencies. Try to ask all the relevant information that you need, because they've been exposed to a whole lot of different industries, and they will help you prepare for that interview.
All right, so I'm going to have to get a red rose, eh? Xabiso, thanks so much indeed for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, sir.